Okay, guys, it's time for stories. We did it. We got old Biggin this morning. Second weekend of modern gun deer season. T2 goes out 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, busts him a big buck. Let me give you the backstory behind this deer. I've got a lot of hunting footage that I haven't posted yet. I'll put that up later, but I thought I'd go ahead and get this one made. So this spot, this is pretty much in the same woods as the big mushrooms I found in the Grove of the Ancients, over past the old muddy banks of the Wishkah. Over past that, there's a scrape I've been watching. Two scrapes actually, and then one of them kind of got covered up by leaves, and then it got reopened up. And then there was another scrape right behind the little round dried up pond next to the muddy banks of the Wishkah that I call the Dust Bowl or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. It's like an old pond. It used to be a pond. So there's two scrapes this way, one scrape over here. T2 sitting right in the L between those two scrapes, much not this way. Last weekend, I'm out there, same time of day on Saturday, and I see the 4-pack of does, the doe squad. Probably the same ones I saw earlier in the year when I was out mushroom hunting, and they just kept circling me. I've seen these same 4 deer several times. So there's those 4 does. There's also another doe and a baby or yearling that I call Bambi and Bambi's mom that I've got on a trail cam. And I think there's like 3, now 2 bucks back in there. So maybe another one. I don't know. Because this one I just shot looks like one I've got a picture of on a trail cam. I'll show you a picture of that. But I found this trail cam footage from it said 2017 on it. So I don't know if it's legit or not, if I got put in the wrong date. But it had this really similar looking buck on that to the one I shot today. Has a really long face, real dark nose. The eyes has like these rings around it. His antlers come up like kind of narrow, and they come to like a point instead of going out wide. It's like whoop, like real pointy, narrow antlers, thick on the base. So I've got a picture of one on the trail cam at nighttime. It's like a little fork spike. Same fucking look to them. I think these are all like relatives, like parents of each other, or like kin or whatever. I don't know how deer work. Probably a lot of incest going on. But yeah, so those 4 does came through last weekend. I'm sitting there at this spot. It's not really my land. And I've been looking at some laws about this stuff, and apparently it's illegal to go onto the land of another for hunting or fishing or trapping and all kinds of stuff like that. Hopefully nobody actually enforces this law. Somebody would probably have to call the game warden on you or something, and most people around here don't give a shit anyway. But anytime I'm just going fishing, apparently I've been breaking the law. And I looked up the penalty for it, and the first offense is $100 to $300. So I think it's worth trespass hunting, or whatever you want to call what I do. Just because the first offense is so cheap. It's worth doing until you get caught once, maybe twice, because the second offense is up to $1,000, I think. And you may do this for years before they may never catch you. Nobody may ever care, let's say. But if you do this for 8 or 10 years, it's worth $300 to be able to hunt wherever you want without reckless abandon. Yo, speaking of that, the song that was on the radio this morning on the way out there was Getting Away with Murder. I don't know who does the song. And then the song on the way out was Wherever I May Roam by Metallica. I was like, holy shit, this is a sign. So I'm sitting there. Last weekend, these 4 does came at me. And I thought I had plenty of time. I was like, oh, they don't have any idea I'm here. I'm sitting at the base of this big sycamore tree. And I'm looking at them. I'm trying to figure out which one is the fattest, because I'm going to take a shot. And then I start worrying, I'm in the middle of I think the rule is 300 yards from a house is how far you got to be to shoot your gun. There's a house on my right. It's right at the limit. And then there's a whole subdivision to my left. There's a house on the corner, and there's another house. One of the main people that work where I work lives over there. So I'm in the middle of a bunch of houses. They're just barely within shooting limits. And it's early in the morning. I'm going to wake somebody up. Most people, you hear a gunshot in the morning. As long as you don't hear another shot, you're probably going to go right back to sleep. That's what I'm counting on. So, also, there's another guy hunting on the corner of the woods that I'm hunting in, because I found a deer stand and a bunch of corn put out with that trail cam from 2017 on it. So I know somebody else could be out there listening, and he might hear me shooting and might come check me out or something. So I'm freaking out anyway. So I didn't take any shots. By the time I was looking at the fourth deer, the first one is already too close to shoot because it's starting to get behind these weeds and flanking me, and it's like over in this direction to my right there's like a cow field. There's cattle over there, there's a house over there. I can't shoot that way. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't shoot now. I start looking at the one in the back, and I'm kind of like panicking. I'm like, should I shoot? Should I not shoot? Maybe if I get caught, maybe like my bullet could maybe go over this hill towards this kind of a mansion-y house that I found. That's the one where I saw the guy who was like had a chainsaw or something in his back porch with a ceiling fan. I was wandering in the woods where I got lost, and there's that abandoned shack that I ended up going in my video where I got lost in the woods. So I'm shooting kind of towards that house, and I'm afraid if I go a little too high, it could go over this field and maybe in that direction, but likelihood of that is way, way low. But I'm thinking about all these things, and I'm letting all these does pass me. So now all four of them are to the right of me, and they're all like, I can't shoot any of them. So my plan was I'm going to stand up and spook them, and that's exactly what happened. I spooked that last deer, which I think also was the fattest, and it ran back the way they came, but it didn't stop, so I didn't really get a good shot on it. So then I'm freaking out, didn't get my deer, and annoyed all week long. I keep going back out there, I keep spooking a deer on the way in or something. Oh, like Wednesday, I think it was. There's another spot before you get to the Dust Bowl kind of area. It's like this tree, it's high up on this gully that comes off of the Dust Bowl. It used to be a creek, I guess. You can see pretty far out in the woods, like half the woods almost. You can see a lot of different shooting lanes, and like I saw that 4-pack of does ran through from the scrape I'm going to be hunting at later, and then 3 more deer came chasing them. It wasn't me spooking them. This was like these bucks were chasing these does. So there's a lot of activity up in this spot, and I knew it was going to be good. But I have to get up and go to work every morning at like 5 a.m., and that's the best time to be shooting them. I'm going in like 1 in the afternoon till like dark, and I'm seeing them, but they're not like acting normal. Like when you want to shoot a deer, you want to get them in the early morning because they're pretty calm and collected and just woke up kind of dazed. I don't know. Anyway, I wait all week long to hunt today. I actually went last night at a different place completely. I got a bunch of weird pictures. I'll have to show you about that later. But this morning I got up and I went to the good spot next to that sycamore tree, sat down at the base of it. I'm looking in this direction of these does, right? And I don't see anything. It's not completely daylight yet. It's still dark. And, well, it's starting to become daylight. It's light enough where you can see. But like I start hearing something coming from behind me. It's like the stomping sound. Like sticks breaking and shit. I'm like, deers don't break sticks when they walk. There's a motherfucking guy coming out here. I've got all my orange, my vest on, my hat. Or it's like a gator that I wore, like one of those old, like from Charles Dickens times hat. I'll show you that. Anyway, I've got all my orange on, so I want to like make sure this guy doesn't shoot me. And I look back there, and it's not a fucking guy. It's a big ass buck with giant antlers. I'm like, oh shit. So there's one 8-point I'm looking for, and I think this might be it, or it might be bigger than that one that's on my trail cam footage. So he goes behind my tree. I'm like, what am I gonna do here? Like if I stand up, I'm gonna spook him, but I gotta try it anyway because he's walking right towards the trail that I came in on. Now keep in mind, I started out with these pants and this shirt and this undershirt, and I've been spraying vanilla on them. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had sprayed vanilla on my shoes and the bottom of my pants to try this trick of like covering up your scent with vanilla. And also I've been just not washing them. And I've just been, I didn't take a bath last night. I went hunting, I didn't take a shower, and went to bed, and I got up and I went hunting again. So I'd already been out in the woods, and I still smell like the damn woods. I stink like woods, but I don't stink like something that they would be afraid of. So it's really good. I've got a good cover scent. And I stand up real careful with my right hand on the tree. And I'm in this sycamore splits into a Y right at like ground, like eye level. So I got a nice rest, put my gun through, and I see him. He's not quite out of range yet. He actually like turned back around going to the left again. Like he was coming from behind me going this way, and he turned around and started going back this way again. Like, there's this great big tree, and all I could see of him really was his front leg and his head, and like a little bit behind the front leg, and that's where you want to aim. So I probably skimmed the shot like right along the side of a tree because I only barely had room to make like a good kill shot on him. And I hit him right in the heart. Later on, when I was pulling the guts out, the heart came out almost like in two pieces. So I think I might have split his heart, like the upper chambers from the lower chambers. Normally, I keep the heart and eat it, but it's pretty fucked up. The heart was, so I didn't keep it. Put it in the gut pile. The liver, I kept one time and tried it. I didn't really like deer liver, so I didn't keep the liver. So then, he went down like immediately. He didn't run or anything. Got him in the heart. Just fell over, started flopping. Took him about a minute or two to die. Really good kill. I was actually shooting towards the guy from work's house, so hopefully he doesn't see this. But there's a big hill that goes up before you get to his house, so I was kind of shooting into an embankment. So it was a pretty good shot. Plus, there's a big giant tree behind him, I think. So kept it safe, and so then I figured, how am I going to do this? Like, you start panicking because like you're not really set up for success. Like, having a successful hunt is a lot more stressful than going out and like not seeing anything and coming home and playing video games and eating lasagna. So I'm thinking, like, how am I going to get this thing out here? I can't pack it out. I'm thinking about maybe dragging it down to the flat part at the Dust Bowl and then working on it down there. I ended up just like gutting it right there, and I think I couldn't even get the lungs out because I don't know. I started sweating and shit. It started like running down my glasses, and I can only see, like, I was squinting my eyes. It's pretty much like when I got lost. You start sweating in your eye, and it gets all salty and hurts. And you're like, oh god, I don't want to do this ever again. But now I kind of do. So I cut his like back leg off, and then I started working on, I think his front legs, but I don't know why. And then I might have been to the tenderloin part, and then I hear another fucking buck coming. There's another smaller buck. Came to see what the fuck was going on, because by that time I'm covered in tarsal gland pheromones and shit. I stink like a dead deer. Blood everywhere, deer scent everywhere. Look at that, there's still blood on my fingernail. Look at that crap. I took a shower and I've still got blood on my fingernail. Anyway, got the deer, took out back legs and tenderloins in my backpack, took that home. I got a fillet knife, and here's a pro tip. Take you some heavy duty scissors. If you want to kill a rabbit, squirrel, maybe not a rabbit, but a squirrel or deer, anything. If you want to get through hide, a knife's not going to cut it. Like, my knife felt like a butter knife. So I came home and I actually sharpened my old knife, and I took some scissors. You can cut through deer hide pretty good with scissors. And that's mainly what keeps everything held together. Like, once you get through that ball and socket joint of the legs, it's kind of a breeze after that. But it was a pain in the ass without a bandana on. So when that other buck came through, I couldn't really get a good shot. I mean, I had him in my scope, but I had to take like 10 or 20 feet over to where I had my gun sitting on a tree. So I couldn't just like pick my gun up and shoot him. If I could have done that, if I had my gun closer, I probably could have killed another deer. And I had 2 deer today. But I'm pretty sure he'll probably come through like that one did tomorrow morning. So I might go out and try to kill another one tomorrow. But now I'm thinking about, if I have that much meat, I can't store it. So I'm going to have to get like a freezer from Lowe's delivered. I don't know if they could get it here in time for me to have enough. Maybe I'll get him next weekend. I don't know. But the guy from work also was talking about killing another deer if I could take the meat. But now I'm going to have a freezer because I got so much damn meat. See, my whole plan was, I should probably insert the clip of the deer that you guys haven't seen yet. I'll insert that here now. Okay, so I'll show you how much meat is on a deer. This is pretty much part of a leg and some meat that I pulled off the neck. And this here is also part of that leg, but it's also like, wasn't very good quality meat, so I'll probably have to ground it up into stew meat or something like that. So that's 2 bowls of meat. The only thing I've got done so far is a leg, front leg, and some meat I chopped off the neck. And then we got another bowl of meat right here. That's part of the leg. And then there's the 2 back legs, which I've just been trying to keep cool until I can get a chance to cut them up. I got the other front leg down here on top of my fruit juice. And this bag right here is all of the tenderloin. And then the bullet lodged in that first leg that I cut up because I found pieces of the bullet right here. You see that? This is my backpack, which is now covered in blood and viscera. So what I've been doing is saving these rubber gloves from work. Whenever we check somebody for coronavirus, I used to like check one person in the morning. I don't want to throw that glove away because I've only used it like for a second. So I stuff it in my backpack. I was always planning on using it to harvest a deer with, but I didn't think I'd actually do it. So it was kind of crazy how everything worked out, my whole plans. But here we go. Here's old big boy. Pretty gross to see a beheaded deer, but that's the wreck compared to the ones that came out of the same woods. I'm thinking this one right here is one of his relatives. Very similar structure. And there's a deer from the trail cams I got from like 2017. See how it kind of comes up and points like an arrowhead comes out. It goes up. He's got a real big dark nose, long face. I've seen the same deer on my trail cams. Long face. There's a lot of meat, just like on this part of the neck right in here. Before it gets to the back straps, it's like a really good neck meat. I didn't even realize. I think when people take their deer to like a processing plant or like a butcher shop, whatever, they're ripping them off because they're probably keeping that neck meat for themselves. And like you get the 2 front legs, 2 back legs, and the tenderloins, and all the other meat, like in between the ribs, the neck, a lot of other just like a random joint meat. They probably keep that for themselves. And there's a thing in Fallout called fried deer skins. I don't really know what that was because you can't really, it's not like a pig skin where you can make chitlins. But like in the Cape, this is what this part's called, there's this meat right here that's connected to the skin. So if you could cut the flap of this off, like all throughout the deer, there's like a layer of meat right underneath the skin. You could cook that. Maybe that's what fried deer skins is. Probably pretty good. Actually, should cut the tongue out. Although it's been kind of hanging out there. I don't know how far back you'd have to go to cut. But like, when people eat cow tongue, I'm sure you could probably eat deer tongue too. So yeah, I'll get back to my story now. And we're back. So my whole plan was, if you get enough deer meat stocked up in your fridge, you're leaving just enough room for like rabbits and squirrels. Then when you go rabbit and squirrel hunting, when you get tired of the deer meat, you can eat a rabbit or a squirrel. Or a turtle if a turtle happens to come into my yard again. Or if I figure out how to trap them. Or fish. So like you can go all year long, from spring to winter, on deer meat and rabbits and squirrels. And turtles. I want to get to where I can pretty much sustain myself without having to go to the store. But then you also got to have vegetables. I mean, I haven't even got my garden started yet. That was my whole plan this year, was to get my garden started. I just haven't had time. Playing too many video games and crap. But yeah, that'd be dope if I could get a whole self-sustaining thing going. Cut out Walmart. I hate going to Walmart. But you still got to have stovetop stuffing and mac and cheese. You can't grow that in the garden. I don't know how you even... You'd have to be like living in frontier times to go back far enough to where you remember how to like harvest the right kind of wheat and herbs mixed up to make stovetop stuffing. Like how would you even... Where would you start with that? I guess you just had to make cornbread or something simple. Anyway, I do like the idea of us going back to times where like frontier days, where everybody's hunting and fishing for their food and like self-sustaining, but we also have the internet and can like share information on, like make Google Maps and share data points and stuff like that. It seems like that's kind of what science fiction is. If you read a lot of science fiction books and they go to like colonize a new world, they have a lot of high-tech Star Trek kind of technology, but they're also living kind of like colony pioneer settlers, which is kind of the whole concept of my field ranger idea and all this other stuff. I have this whole idea I want to do. Maybe I'll start it up like a public land trust where I have people that, I don't know, if you want to participate, you put it in your will. If you own private land, you donate it to the private land trust, and then everybody that is a member of the private land trust, or the public land trust, whatever I want to call it, the PLT. Everybody's a member of the PLT, kind of has a stake in it, like a stock, and you own part of this private land. It's not the government public hunting land, it's your own private hunting land that people donate, or they donate money and then you buy the land with money. And then it's kind of like buying back America. Instead of all these people putting up posted no hunting signs and all this bullshit, you buy back all that land that's good hunting grounds and you let everybody hunt there. I think that's a good idea. The only thing is, like, people just easily change the law where that wouldn't work or something. Or like, even though where you still have to follow all the hunting rules and all this stuff, still have to, pay the king his due, like buy a license, and I mean, this is all stuff that's good for going towards conservation anyway. But like, it's a shame that you have to pay a certain amount of money just to go out and harvest deer that in frontier days anybody could just do for free. But now it's like you spend so much money on all this equipment to get a deer. It's not. It just go buy your meat. It just is cost you about the same or less. It's easier to just go buy your meat from the store. It's not like there's no incentive for people to like go out and self-sustain. Unless you're living in Alaska or something, you can do it real cheap. Anywho, that's the story. It was a pain in the ass getting that thing out of there. 2 whole trips with a backpack full of deer legs and meat, and then I had the head with the antlers. I'm holding it like this with the head behind me, so I'm pretty much walking around the woods with the antlers. Luckily, I had that hunter orange on, and I'm in a place where nobody should be hunting anyway, so relatively safe, I guess. But that's how you kind of hear stories of people getting shot in hunting accidents, carrying a deer head, and you don't have orange on. Somebody just sees antlers and they blow your head off. Anyway, hope you liked it. I'll get back to skinning this deer out. What? Rail lube and string wax. Alright, so guys, I thought of some more stuff. Today's the next day. I just woke up. It's Sunday now. And first of all, let me just say, I am sore everywhere on my body. Packing out a 200-pound animal, 100 pounds of meat at a time in a backpack. Right in here, my shoulders are sore. The bottom of my back is sore. My legs are sore. My arms are sore from chopping it up. I'm just sore all over. And so, plus I don't have room for another deer. So hunting this morning is pretty much off the table. Even though I still feel like I could get that other buck that showed up. And also, I kind of felt like my brother's spirit was with me yesterday with the kind of luck I'm having. I feel like I just won the NBA championship or something. Because the way it all happened, I'm expecting a bunch of does to come through, and I see a massive monster buck behind me. And then on the fact that I had to stand up to get a shot off on it and not spook it. That's lucky. And then those songs coming on the radio was lucky. And then like hitting it right where I hit it in the heart, where it doesn't even run, that was lucky. Nobody coming to like ask me what I'm doing on this land. I was kind of lucky. So yeah, felt like I had a lot of luck. And thought I'd show you guys where I sighted in my rifle. So it was like about 80 yards. So got 3 in the middle, couple one little strange. This one's pretty close still. But I had the scope that came with my air rifle, the Optima, on it, and it didn't work because it didn't really fit on the rails right. So I took it off, put the old scope back on, took 5 shots, and I felt like that was good enough. So I didn't mess with it anymore. Somebody was asking me what I killed it with. This is the rifle here. It's a 243 Savage Arms. This is a Simmons scope, I think. Yeah, 3-9 by 40. And also, here's a little trick I do. See, there's nothing in the chamber right now. Now there is. It's loaded. Loaded for bear. Now if you want to take your gun and you want to unload it but keep the shells in it, put your thumb over the action like this. So when you pull it back out, the extractor lets the bullet come out, but it doesn't go anywhere. So you plug it back down in the magazine, into the well, put the bolt back on top. And then you got an empty chamber, and you didn't shoot bullets out anywhere. Put it back on safe, you're good to go. Just pro tips, something I do. You could also do that if you're trying to like keep your empty shells after you shoot, if you don't want to leave evidence of where you're at. What else was I talking about? Tips and tricks, things that like help you get prepared. If you want to hunt deer seriously, you need to be set up for success, because I was not set up. I don't have a freezer to store all my extra meat, so now I can't really hunt any more deer, even though the tag limit is 4. I've got 1 that I can't really fit all in my fridge right now. It's a big mess. I still have 2 legs I got to skin out today. It's just been sitting in my fridge, in the bottom part of my fridge, just like open meat. I guess that's fine, because you keep them in freezers and you age meat that way, so it's probably not going to be too bad. But if you want to hunt deer seriously, and you want to have maybe a farm with like cows and pigs on it also, where you're dealing with a lot of meat, Like, I went to Walmart yesterday to get some freezer paper. And apparently they don't make that anymore. I went to another store and they had some, but like Walmart doesn't carry it. Walmart had this stuff called parchment paper. Ended up buying like 4 boxes for like $12. And it's just like cookie paper. You put cookies on it and you bake cookies. And that was no good. I could probably still use it for like in between steaks or something. But like, I guess they don't really use freezer paper anymore because everybody uses plastic bags and they use those vacuum sealers. So I would recommend, if you're doing this seriously, get you a vacuum sealer setup. I guess you need like little plastic things that go in it or something to like sucks all the air out so you don't get freezer burn on your meat. Because all those blackberries I have in plastic bags in my freezer, they're probably starting to get freezer burn because they've been in there a while and there's air in there. So I guess that if you have air and stuff that's in a freezer, you get freezer burn. That's why they probably don't sell the wax paper anymore. But I did find some. I'm gonna try to use that. Also, you need to have a meat grinder. You know, where you put like a certain percentage of fat in, you grind it up like a sausage and it comes out in like a casing maybe. And then you can use that meat to like make deer jerky if you have one of those air dryers or deer jerky maker. So yeah, I need to get a freezer, I need to get a sealer or a vacuum sealer, I need to get a grinder. Probably need a grinder pretty soon because I'm gonna have to. You could also make stew meat instead of grinding it up, which might be something I could do. Also, like, this is like high level stuff right here. We're talking about like I'm just a level 2 hunter still. I think I may have leveled up last night, but anyway, if you want to talk about high level hunting, the next step, now that I've passed this phase of killing a monster buck, what do you do now? Well, now you got to look at using all the parts of the buffalo. You got your tarsal gland that now you can use to like give yourself a deer scent. You got the hide, which I've never messed with hide, but somebody was talking about like I should start like trying to learn how to tan leather. And when I was skinning out this deer, like if you see this white fur on the bottom of a deer, like I don't ever see anybody making leather out of that, but could you? Because that's a really nice furry like white fur. Like it seems like you could make something out of that. Like instead of gutting it down the bottom of the deer, maybe skin the hide off of the whole thing first, and then there's like a layer that's like keeps all the guts and stuff in that you cut the guts after you get the hide off. But then you'd have to like take it home and string it up before you gutted it, so you'd have to, it might lose some of the meat. There might be a way. I'm trying to figure, like some people have those like air compressors. You put like a hole in the deer's hide, probably where your bullet hole is, or just in the butthole or something, and you shoot air into it and it just pops the whole skin off, and then you could save the hide that way. But you'd have to like have it with you in the field, like on the back of a truck maybe. I don't know. I'm talking about high level hunting, boys. High level usage of every piece of the meat too. You can also use the silver skin. You can make like cordage or whatever out of it, sinew. You can make like string, like bowstring and stuff out of it. I don't know. You can use the antlers to make knife handles if you're good with the arts and crafts. I can't even imagine having like 4 deer tagging out. Like, how would you store that much meat? Unless it's like smaller does, there's not as much meat as a buck, but 4 bucks is like so much meat, dude. Even when I went to get that second load of deer legs in my backpack, I saw another deer up in the woods farther the way that one was coming. And then saw a red squirrel. Couldn't do anything with because I'm packing a big load of meat on the way out. So like I'm missing all these squirrels because I'm hunting deer. And it's like when do you even get a chance to hunt squirrels during squirrel season? Because you're doing the deer hunting, archery season kind of overlaps everything, and then rabbit season started in November. So I haven't had a chance to hunt rabbits because my trigger on my air gun's been fucked up. But yeah, now that I got all this deer meat, I can start supplementing like rabbit and squirrel in between, fish, turtles, whatever else I can get. It's fucking dope. Love it. I don't really know what to do with this deer head. It's I want to keep the skull, obviously, but I don't know, like, do people boil the meat off the skull, and then how do they do that? Because I guess you could just leave it out and let it rot off like it does in the woods, but it's got a deer head just sitting out in my driveway right now. I actually made a little fire. I was trying to burn some brush. I threw the deer neck onto it, trying to cook some of that neck meat so my dog could maybe snack on it. She wouldn't touch it. And then she went and ate cat poop, and then threw up cat poop on my bed right where my head lays, under my pillow. It was so gross. I don't know what to do about this.